Welcome. I am Dana. This is From Our View, and this is my friend Catherine Kearns. And Catherine has taught, we met a couple of years ago. I don't really remember. She was working at a little secondhand shop, and she decorates it. It makes it awesome. And I asked her tons of questions, and then we just became friends. And then I don't even know how it all evolved, but then we ended up in a mom's group together. And Catherine brought her brilliance of zero waste to our mom's group. And when I say that somebody actually gets in my head, she's in my head. So whenever I make a purchase, whenever I'm thinking about making a purchase, whenever I'm using something, I think, what would Catherine do? The one thing Catherine does not do is judge, which feels really good. So whenever, she's not one of those that whenever she sees that you're doing something poorly, she says, oh, no. She just leads by example. And so through her example for the past 2 years, 3 years, I'm not sure, I've learned different ways to do better. And I like to quote Maya Angelou as often as possible that the queen herself says that when we know better, we do better. Yeah. And so Catherine has taught me that whenever we know better, we do better. So Catherine, show us a few ways that you don't waste.
Well, again, my name is Catherine Kearns, and everything I do is just super practical. It's something that I incorporate into my everyday life. I've always been kind of aware of waste. I grew up in a household where my mom was a recycler. We repurposed and reused things. And then growing up in college, I loved secondhand stores. And when I moved to Ames, I actually owned my own women's clothing consignment store because I really believe that secondhand can be beautiful.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be stinky and dumpy. You can save so much money and look great and at the same time help the environment.
I'm guessing what you're wearing today, secondhand.
Secondhand, a lot of it, yep. And then when I do buy new, I try to be very aware of where it's coming from and where it goes after I'm done with it. So what really opened my eyes, and I don't know if you notice this a lot when you had children, is the amount of waste that occurs when you have children. It's just...
I only have a couple, so I don't really see that.
Yeah, I know. If I lived by myself in a tiny house with solar panels and all that, it would be grand, but I don't. So the things that we do are the things that we have control over in our everyday. One of my favorite quotes is from Gretchen Rubin. Have you read The Happiness Project?
Yes.
The things you do every day are more important than the things you do once in a while. So what are the things that you can do in your everyday life that add up to make a big, significant difference overall? So where I like to start is really examine your single-use waste in your everyday life. How many things do you use every day that you use once and toss? Where does it come from and where does it go when you're done with it? So that's really easy. Start out with reusable cups, reusable bottles, utensils, bring your own fork. I have a pencil case wherever I go with a reusable spoon, fork, and straw. Super easy, and I bring that stuff wherever we go as a family. Other things that you can do beyond your single use, once you kind of get used to that, and you will become more aware of it. I don't know if you've noticed that.
Oh, yeah.
Once you start down that path and you start being more mindful, it's like your eyes start opening, you become more aware of your waste or just ways that you're like, I don't really need that. I can change that out. There is an easy swap for that. So at our house, even during holidays, we use real plates. I use Corelle because they are super kid friendly. I cannot remember the last time we bought napkins because we use bandanas every day. And these are holiday ones, but for napkins, and they are so easy. You just throw them in the washing machine. They take up no room.
How do you store them?
I have a drawer and I fold them Marie Kondo style. And
that's the part where we can't be friends.
And that's fine. It works in my life. If she wants to wad hers up and shove it in a drawer, that's her, and it works just as great. Who cares, right? So
you care, Catherine. You care.
No, it's all good. You're still using
it.
She's using the reusable. She's using the reusable. Also, easy things to do, when you're shopping, grocery shopping, choose glass and metal recyclable items over plastic packaging whenever you can. Just because plastic, it's very toxic to create to begin with, and then it just goes and sits in the landfill forever. So those are just a few things that I do on a normal basis. Also, I use reusable bags and then produce bags at the grocery store. So during quarantine, I think it is kind of hard because some stores they discourage you from using reusable bags. So at like our grocery store, and so I can't use my reusable bag, so I actually go and grab a produce box from the produce section, like an apple box or just like a flat, and that's what I put my groceries in because our family has committed to not using plastic bags. And that's something that you can kind of hold yourself accountable by saying, we have committed to not using this. We don't do that anymore. And that's fine. Like, that's just our family's choice. And like when we go out with our extended family, our family kind of makes a lot of choices that maybe the rest of the family doesn't make, but again, we're doing it, and we're not shaming anybody else. It's just what we do.
Which I'm still transitioning because I have the reusable bags, and then I forget to put them in the car that I'm taking. So I need to have them in each car. But like one time, Catherine and I went to a little thrift store, and they were handing me a bag, and she said, "Oh, I think we can carry that." And I was like, "Oh, when you know better, you
can
better.
Carry it."
What? But it just it's just that we get so adapted and familiar with our environment that our environment kind of takes over our brain. And so then just the little gentle nudges that, oh, we don't need that bag. And so now I am not to the point of saying our family doesn't do that.
Yep.
That's where I'm headed.
Yeah.
But I have so many things, like I let my brain get crowded with other things. And then also I've been in a pickle lately because, America creates all these easy things for us that I am grateful for in so many ways. But I've had an issue lately because I've wanted to, at our local grocery store, you can do grocery pickup.
Yeah.
But it's all in a plastic bag when you get there.
Yeah.
And so I don't know how to ask them to not put it in a plastic bag. I don't know how to do I take it out of the plastic bag and then put it in my bag? So, like, it is such a convenient thing for me to be able to go just pick up our groceries whenever we have a lot of children. But I also want all of those children that I have to see me leading by example.
It's hard because I think you need to have some grace, I think, during this time, too. And pick and choose when you can do that. And it's just do what you can and where you are, and don't beat yourself up. What I do today is not what I did a year ago or 2 years ago. You don't do everything all at once. You just incorporate things that work well with your family.
I'm going to give an example for me.
Okay.
So for me, something I've done recently, one of my children, his school requires that everything be disposable, which makes me kind of nauseous. And they're coming off of that a little bit. But historically, I would have gotten on Amazon and purchased ice packs. Yeah. Or I would have gone to Walmart and got some ice packs. But I am a Young Living distributor, user, proponent. I do all things Young Living. And so we have our supplements from Young Living. This one is Super Cal Plus, but it's actually not. It's empty. And so whenever I emptied it, I actually empty now and combine and put in a mason jar with a lid, and then I label it. But I use these as my ice packs. So this is freezing cold right now because I just got out of the freezer, and so I toss this in my son's lunch.
Yeah.
And
small,
that's an ice pack, and it changes.
Yep.
And it keeps everything cold. And yes, it doesn't. Catherine taught us recently that it doesn't have to look Instagram worthy. It needs just to be like
functional,
climate worthy.
Yeah, functional.
So these are little things that I've done. Show us a couple of other little things that you've done.
Use what you have. That's the big thing. Like, it's not the most environmentally positive thing is to not buy something. Use what you have. Chances are, especially during quarantine, when I'm home, if I'm working on something like, oh, I wish I could run and go, well, look at this. But if I just go in my basement and sort around my stuff, I have a solution. So I don't know, for like cottage cheese or sour cream containers work really well. Holidays, think about this. Keep some of these things for if you do have a family gathering. These are really good to-go containers. Don't buy to-go containers. Like money down the toilet. And I will say too, I thought about this when you're speaking earlier. I think there is a lot of guilt around when you're making the transition to be more eco-friendly. Like, oh, I feel so guilty because I am wasteful, and I know I am. But we have all been conditioned. This has happened over time where
society tells us to be
It has
wasteful.
It's been slowly incorporated. So it's hard to break those habits because they are convenient. You just have to think, is this actually a convenience, or are they telling me it's a convenience? Am I saving time and money with this? But you're not the only one. This is a cultural thing that we're kind of trying to butt up against right now. So
big time.
Show yourself grace and just celebrate your changes in your life, and your children will see that too.
Oh, they do. They take notice. One of the things that we have over here is one of your gift wrapping ideas. And so, Catherine, again, she's my teacher, and I learned from her 2 or 3 years ago. And you do owe me, because it's almost that time of year, and so you owe me my annual roll.
Yes, I know. I've been thinking about this.
She owes me my annual roll of wrapping paper. And so
last year, I think the one was like massive, so
I'm still using it. But each year in the car rider line, she brings me a roll of wrapping paper from a thrift store that somebody else discarded. So, no, it does not look like a Pinterest wrap job. No, I'm not a Pinterest wrapper.
Ugliest wrapping paper I can find Christmas wrap at Goodwill, the better, quite honestly.
And I have been complimented on how ugly my wrapping paper is.
Because it's not about the wrap with the kids. It's about ripping it open. You don't need to get rid of wrapping paper. Just pick up a roll, and there's so much of it out there. You just have to see it. And once you start going to thrift stores regularly, you're going to see so many things. You're like, I don't need to buy that new, and I don't need to buy that new, and I don't need to buy that new. But now that's kind of our running joke about the wrapping paper.
Annual wrapping paper.
Annual wrapping paper.
For us, things that I've always I didn't grow up with extra money. And so we always thought, we went to garage sales, we went to thrift stores. And even though we can afford something different, doesn't mean that we should, because people are discarding nice clothes. People are discarding nice. My house is basically a thrift store.
Right.
Like
literally
everything in the house. I shouldn't say everything. A large majority comes from a thrift store. So children's clothes, guys, my kids generally wear, because they're true white Americans, and so they want to wear Under Armour. They want to wear Nike. Yeah. They have the brands.
This isn't grungy stuff. This isn't this is not.
Half the time I get tags still on it.
Yeah.
Under Armour, Nike, brand name things that my kids are wearing, and they come from thrift stores.
Yeah.
And also, it's a little bit of a mind shift too, that they don't have to look grungy, but they also don't have to keep with the complete trend, because it is a trend. And America trends so quickly now, none of us can actually keep up with it.
And I think you're setting your kids up for some major disappointments in life if they need to constantly keep up. But I do think there's a misconception that being green is more expensive, like when you buy earth-friendly, or actually it's not. And I think that there's probably some propaganda from like the companies that want you to buy stuff. It totally doesn't have to be. I mean, we thrift stuff for a fraction of the price. That it's just as nice.
I can't tell you the last time I walked into Target.
Oh,
it
nauseates me now.
Because I look at it and I think, I always love to go to Target, because that's what we're taught to love to do.
Yep, Target and your Starbucks. Yep.
But then whenever Catherine gets in my head, I can't necessarily go there anymore, because when we know better, we do better. And we can get we can get glass containers. We can get all of our lunch containers. I'm talking, I could go through my house and literally take you on a walkthrough of all of the things that when we know better, we do better. And we purchase them secondhand versus, we have to be mindful.
Yeah. And then also with, I think, bringing up Target, I know, like, it's not that I never go to Target. It's just I shop Target very differently now. Like, if I go in there, it's for, I don't know, some purpose, but it's not very often. But coming up to Christmas with the toys and the craft things, there's so much packaging with buying new toys. That is a huge source of waste. Like, half of the plastic comes from the wrapper, and it's not recyclable. I don't care how many times they'll say, you can recycle it. Well, maybe you can somewhere, but in reality, such a minimal is actually recycled.
My daughter is obsessed with LOL dolls.
Yeah.
Y'all, that is all it is an unpackaging. And an unpackaging and an unpackaging.
Yeah.
And whenever she's opened them, I think, oh my God, this is a waste.
Yeah.
And when, truthfully, you can go on the Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah.
And you can get LOL dolls, and you can use your original LOL container and stuff an LOL in there.
Yeah.
And there are ways, kids, we train, what I've realized, and I have 9 children, what I've realized is that we train children to be consumers. They're not born consumers. We train them that way. So we can also untrain them. We can retrain them. So you don't have to go. We don't have to go and purchase all new presents. No. We don't have to go get more toys.
And they get excited. I mean, especially with like little kids, like they don't care. All my son cares about is the dinosaurs. Like I brought a little dinosaur for an example, which I also wanted to add to your cleaning process. Sometimes people get weird. I'm going to go off on a tangent here about buying secondhand. I feel like I don't see a big deal, especially during quarantine. I'm careful. I clean things. But so if I buy like toys or books, I put your Thieves on a rag and I wipe them down or maybe do a solution of it. It's not a big deal. Because
frankly, people are touching stuff at the store. They're just like they are. Like we get it. We kind of, and we can get, but yes, I do. We use Thieves household cleaner on all of our things. We use it, if we get secondhand clothes, first of all, when I get new clothes, I wash them.
Yes.
So when I get secondhand clothes, I wash them. Like we can't get our mind and thinking, oh, that's just nasty. No, actually kind of everything's nasty. Yeah. So just wash it.
Yeah. It's used as, I do think that's another stigma in our country is that everybody wants new, whether it's like they have to have, I can't have a house that somebody else has lived in, or I can't have this that somebody else has used. And we just got to break that cycle a little bit because any mom watching this knows we have too many toys. And if we would just all open up our homes and say, what do you want? Because you can have it. And then what do you have that I can use? There's plenty of things to go around.
I have to toss this out there because this is funny. But, and it's very apropos. So as a guest From Our View, we generally give little gifts. But since it's Catherine and since she's taught me better and since we know better and we do better, I literally went around my house and found all the little things that Catherine would like and made a basket of all secondhand so that whenever the basket's over here, let's do the basket. Okay, so this is the thank you basket for Catherine. So it's a little basket. Again, this would be I think you'd be the third user, and it's tea.
Love that.
Okay.
Nothing better than a little wood box. I know exactly where.
Nothing better. Okay, and then of course, because I believe that all God's children need young living, Thieves hand sanitizer because it's, the world is dirty. Yeah. This is a roller bottle.
Cute.
With joy and stress away because it's 2020.
Yes.
A wooden coffee mug.
Love that.
Young Living gave us these. It's Young Living tea.
Love that.
And a teacup. And then one of our favorite authors is Glennon Doyle Melton.
Oh, I haven't read that. I'm so excited.
She's actually
Glennon Doyle.
So,
hey, love it.
Secondhand.
I love this. This is literally perfect.
Thank you.
Shopped your house and got.
I did shop my house. We were going to talk really fast too. Catherine talked about how we have so many products in our house. And so
after you get done with your single use and paring that down, your kitchen and your bathroom are the two biggest sources of waste in your home.
Tell us more, and then we'll talk about this.
So when you examine those and you're like, okay, I've got a good wrap on my single use waste. Let me explore my kitchen and my bathroom because there are loads of bottles in there, loads of cleaning products, loads of things that I'm just pumping out plastic bottles. So this is where I love the reusable, the Thieves and stuff like that, because this is like a one-stop shop for cleaning. And one container of your Thieves bottle, refillable, fills how many bottles?
Well, it comes in a plastic bottle, but Thieves household cleaner comes in a plastic bottle, and I use one capful per bottle. So I'm saying, without stretching, I'm saying we're probably getting at least 30 to 35 glass bottles.
And that's from your standard size bottle.
From our standard size, not our large one. Yes.
The big one.
So we have reduced by...
That's one bottle compared to 30 bottles or whatever. That is a huge win in my mind.
And I use, I had them over here a minute ago, I use Norwex cloth. So, this window, we have dogs, and so there was dog prints all over it. So right before we started filming, I go and clean it. But I have Norwex cloths, and I have Thieves household cleaner. That's the only cleaner I have in my house because this cleans the toilets, it cleans the windows, it cleans the floors. This is what we use. So whenever you look under our cupboards, we don't have all of the window cleaners. We don't have the toilet cleaners. We have one and done.
It works for everything. And then I like what you said about the Norwex products too with the rags. I don't necessarily use all of those, but I have literally kind of hid our paper towels in our house where I put them in cabinets where, unless it's something that is like really gross, you can use a rag and the cleaner and then you just throw that away. Again, you're saving so much money by not buying those paper products, and it's
when
healthy,
we walk down so we also have diffusers in our house, so essential oil diffusers. So we just drop a few drops of that to enhance the smell of the home, to enhance our mood, to enhance like all things, because it enhances our immune system. So, but also that what's strange is whenever you walk down the aisles in the stores, they're literally, first of all, it gives me a headache.
Yeah.
With all of the plugins and all of that. But what waste? What total waste, right? So we're plugging those in, then we're tossing them, or we're just and it's not. Those things aren't good for the environment. They're not good for us to breathe in. So just thinking about little things that we can change in our lives. Show us 2 more things, Catherine.
Oh shoot.
If we want to be serious, like you want to do something.
Well, I just really like the idea of the holidays. Like when company is coming over, like this is going to be your one-stop shop for constantly cleaning up after people, and it's safe for kids and everything.
Also, and I hate to say this in front of Catherine, but I do buy these bottles on Amazon, and this is what I give to teachers.
But it lasts forever. You got to just think about how long do I use it though? Like that's the life of it. Where does it come? But where does it go? Like this will last you so much longer.
So much longer. These are gifts that I give at the holidays. I think mindfully, and especially because of Catherine, I will give a secondhand. And often you can buy new napkins. You can buy with tags still on them. You can buy dish towels with tags still on them at a thrift store.
Oh yeah.
And so I will get.
We should make a list of all the thrift stores we like to go to in our area.
Oh, we should. And tell you where to go in your area.
Yeah, because there are so many places that, especially I'm like, I need to get, I don't know what it is I'm hunting for, but I right away, like the top few places, I'll go to this place for this place, or there's a place for everything.
And it's gotten to the point that if we're actually thinking about what we already have, Catherine's taught me this, that we can probably find it, or a friend has it that doesn't need it anymore and say, hey, are you still using that? Would you actually have an extra?
Yes.
But then recently, she and I went thrifting together because they can take that from our cold, dead hands.
I can't.
We're not going to stop.
Because we are still consumers.
We are
still consumers. And we have
being more mindful consumers.
Yeah.
But she needed a shelf for some of her sewing stuff. And so instead of going to a big store, a big box store, she knew what she was looking for. But she didn't have to have it that day. So it wasn't something that, like, that's where I've also gotten, there are things that we have to have today, like toilet paper. You know what? I'm not going to use white. I'm not going to use the cloth. I'm still going to, I'm still going to buy toilet paper.
That's where we are. Yep. That's where we are too.
We're going to do that. But there are other things most things that we think that we need today, we don't necessarily need today. And so we can go to a couple of thrift stores over a couple of weeks, and then they'll probably have it. So you found the perfect shelf.
Yeah, $3. $3. And it's just a cute antique little shelf. I'm like, instead of how much at Target or IKEA or something.
I was organizing. This is an example. I was organizing because I am still a consumer, and I still do have all, a garage full of American things. And so I was organizing my garage, and my husband had gone to a big box store and got me some bins, and that was wonderful. It was very thoughtful and kind, and I used them, obviously. But then whenever you know better, you do better. And so I was at a thrift store the next week, and I needed more bins for organizing my holiday decor, and the thrift store had bins, and they
there's a cost to everything, whether it's money or it's resources, and it might not have cost you more dollar amounts.
It did save several dollars, but it wasn't even about the money at that point. It was about thinking long term. Like, I can reuse this. I will repurpose this.
Yeah, that's so great. I love that. Also at the holidays, I do things like using reusable tablecloths, the napkins, and then it's an opportunity when your family comes over. Who knows what it's going to be like this year? I've told my kids, I'm probably not going to see anybody, but who knows? Like, get over it.
Spread the joy.
This is different, whatever. It's fine. It's not going to be any less special. But to use, like, real plates, they don't have to match. They don't have to be fancy. Use real napkins. But there's something about using real things, I think, during the holidays because it is special.
I love that you have Christmas Corel.
Hello.
Like, it made me happy.
But they're not like heavy, clunky china, No. Throw them in. You can fit 50 of them in the dishwasher. I could feed your family and more and put it all in the dishwasher.
I'm the poster. If you could feed the Duns.
Yeah, you're good. But it also kind of sets the tone, I think, if you have family over to be like, oh, look at Dana. Look at her. She's using real stuff. It can be done. It doesn't have to be.
My mother-in-law had made burp cloths. These really cute burp cloths that are all stained up and they're not pretty anymore. But all of a sudden I thought, oh my God, Catherine would use these as napkins. So now our burp cloths are our napkins because
they're super absorbent too.
They absorb everything.
But
I'm just not wasting. Like I'm using them and I'm using them every day for a purpose. And I get to look at it and think, oh, I had this when the little boys were babies. This is sweet. And I get to think about the love that went into them. And so it is. There's more happiness whenever you're using things that are reusable.
It is happy. I love that. So many great ideas. And again, none of it's rocket science. Just kind of like look around and go, I can do something. I know better. I can do better.
One of the things, and we'll kind of leave on this note, I think, one of the things that we have to do, and I'm learning this with so many aspects of life, is that when it comes to this, we have to set aside our ego. Mm-hmm. And I think setting aside our ego, setting aside what other people think of us, and like, I think that's a big deal. I think Americans really get caught up in ego and that we want to be seen as, that we have more, that we're capable or, empowered, but we're actually wasting.
And we almost have to kind of conform to that too. So if you challenge any of those ideas, you do kind of you can be kind of shamed a little bit. Like, you're doing that different. Like, ooh, and I just still always go back to like, the women that change the world are not the ones that are submissive in the background. Like, I am okay with that. I want to be on the side that is like pushing those boundaries. That's my personality. And we just want to do better for our kids, I think, ultimately, right? Like,
right. And
like it's for them. Do they need
my kids have to learn resilience at school through taking a sour cream container? Then, by God, learn resilience.
Right. Like,
there's worse things that can happen to you.
Yeah.
So, thanks for joining us. Thank you, Catherine.
Oh my gosh. Thank you for having me. We could talk for days, I think.
Days.
Literally days, so. Awesome.